Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is a very special episode of Splat from the Past because back in January we lost the great horror and sci-fi character actor Dick Miller, and I had reached out to him around I think Thanksgiving or Christmas time to do an interview with him and his wife Lainie, but unfortunately they were busy, and then Dick died at the end of January. But I'm having Lainie on tonight to discuss his legacy, his passing, and her upcoming appearance at Mad Monster Party in Arizona. She'll be making an appearance there with merchandise of Dick and all that stuff, and I'm pretty excited. She played the stripper in The Graduate, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I want to find out how she got that role. So I'm going to try to squeeze that in here tonight as well, and I'm pretty excited. So, here is... Oh, and by the way, she also worked as a script supervisor on Tales from the Darkside, produced by George Romero. That's a nice little side note there. So, here is my interview with Lainie Miller. Hi, Lainie. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm okay.
That is great. It's such an honor. Thank you for taking the time tonight.
That's okay.
So, going back in time, how did you first meet Dick?
Another actor introduced us at Schwab's Drugstore. That was 1959.
Wow, 1959.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And by that point, he was already an established working actor in the Corman camp.
Yes, he was.
Didn't he originally come to L.A. to write movies?
Well, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a writer. But he was introduced to Roger by a good friend, Jonathan Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
And Roger said, I don't need writers. I need actors. So he says, okay, I'm an actor. And so he cast him in his first picture, Apache Woman. And that's the movie where he played a cowboy and he played an Indian. And they, shot at each other. What can I say?
Yeah, he became part of Roger's mainstay of actors, and it seems to me everyone that worked with him just absolutely loved him.
Well, he's easy to love. He always knows his lines, knew his lines. Nobody ever had to, worry about that. He had the nickname One Take Miller. And so that's actually the basis for why he started turning down work in recent years, because he was afraid if he went up on his lines, he'd lose his nickname.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, and many of Roger's proteges became successful. They put him in their movies, like James Cameron, Joe Dante, Marty Scorsese. He had such a great screen presence.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
He also had a great presence in person.
I know that time I met him at Monsterpalooza 2 years ago. Just the look on his face was so priceless when I brought him that Chopping Mall Blu-ray to sign.
Oh yeah.
That was so great. When
Dick, to say he was everything to me.
Absolutely. When Dick decided to retire from making movies in the 90s, was that the beginning of his health declining?
Well, Dick never really decided to retire.
Oh, I thought he did.
What happens is he became reticent and started turning down stuff. He never actually decided to retire, because if somebody called him for a job and I answered the phone, I'd say, send me the script, and I'll let him read it, and we'll see what we can do about it. He, on the other hand, would say, I retired and hang down, but he never really retired. He was fearful. He was fearful, really. He did not want to have people say things about him that they say about other aging actors when they start going up on their lines. It was a big thing with him.
So he decided to just act sparingly unless he was offered something.
Yeah. And so, I gave up what I was doing basically so that I could bolster him every time in the later years. Every time he would go do a job, I went with him, and just moral support, I guess.
Oh, no, that's great. That's how a marriage should be. Because I remember in 2001 he participated in the DVD commentary for Gremlins, and he didn't sound too good. Did he have a stroke?
He had several strokes.
Wow.
He had several strokes. He had 2 of them while he was shooting.
Wow. Wow. When he passed in January, was it expected?
Well, that's a hard question. He went to the hospital, spent 3 days there. They said they thought it was caused by food poisoning. I couldn't figure out how that happened because I had the same thing. But the doctor told me that sometimes if you're compromised, a bug in the food will affect you and not the others. So I don't know if that's what happened or what, but after he was there for 3 days, he didn't want to go home. And they sort of got him stabilized. So they let him come home. 2 days later, it just all fell apart. All the paramedics.
Oh, my God.
So he didn't last 12 hours for that.
Wow. Yeah, because, with all those strokes and everything, it's like he was like a bull. He kept going.
He had so many surgeries, another person wouldn't have lasted as long as him. He had diabetes his whole life. I shouldn't say his whole life. I identified his diabetes when he was 50.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard on anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Several surgeries. He always got better. And they were really complicated surgeries, many of them. So, but he did well, and he always had a smile on his face for everybody.
Yeah, I remember in 1985 he was interviewed for this home video documentary of the first Fangoria Weekend of Horrors because he was a guest there, and he said something in that to this day I still find very inspirational, which was by that point he had been in Hollywood about 30 years, and he said that aside from a few lean years, he persevered and he got to consistently make a living doing what he loved, and that's why they call it the survival factor. And those words are just so inspirational to me to this day.
Well, you have to really love it to stay with it because you give up a lot. Everybody else is able to make plans based on an amount of money that they can, depend on. So when you're an actor hoping for the next job, it's just very scary if you want to buy a house, if you want to have a family. And many times we really had to pull it together. I can remember a time we were so poor, had enough for one hamburger. And that's what we shared for our meal for the day, him and I.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but on the other hand, because of it, we lived very frugally beyond the years we had to live frugally anymore because we were afraid. One day the accountant told him, listen, you can't take it with you when you go. You better start to live a little. So we started traveling and things changed. But we really had to be told and shown that, that everything was okay now.
Wow, and that was a time when hamburgers were like 30 cents.
That's it. That's exactly right.
Do you have a favorite performance of his?
I loved a lot of his performances, all for different reasons. So it's hard to say. In Lampoon, he played, I believe he played a scientist, a German scientist, and I didn't see that played much, but I loved the part. I liked what he did in some movies that were not heralded so well, like The Terror.
Right.
I really liked his character in The Terror. I liked him in Gremlins. I love him in everything. I loved him in Fame. Fame, he got to really stretch because he got to sing a little and he got to dance a little. And
Yeah, my two personal favorites are Bucket of Blood. I'm glad Roger believed in him enough to have him play the lead in that. I think he's magnificent in that. And I love his role in Explorers. I still get chills to this day when that garbage can spaceship takes off and he stands there and he says, "Go get him, kid." I just remember seeing that in previews as a kid, and it even gave me chills just watching it in that preview. And then when I saw the movie, it did it all over again.
they're playing the heck out of it these days, and I love it. All of his stuff started coming back on TV even more so after he passed. I guess people just felt they should do that.
Yeah, and I think that documentary you guys made helped it a little too.
Oh my God, that was a labor of love for me.
Mm-hmm.
I did so much in that movie. I had to make sure we were legally covered because we had so many clips. I didn't want to get sued.
Yeah.
So it was really something I am very, very glad I got to do that. I'm also glad that I got to make him the very biggest 90th birthday party that maybe anybody in the business ever had. It was huge. It had a lot of his friends, many of his directors and producers were there, and Dick and I really danced our butts off. We had good music, good singer, and he thanked me every day from that party till the day he went. He had so much fun. I don't know what made me do it, and it's the first time he didn't ask me how much something cost. And it's a good thing he didn't. Yeah, it was a massive event. There must have been 16 or 17 hors d'oeuvres on each table. It was a family-style Mediterranean thing. And 3 entrees were served. It was just delightful.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I do that for him.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't. I still am not. It's only been 4.5 months.
Yeah. Is Jonathan Hayes still alive and kicking?
Oh yes, absolutely. He's doing pretty decent, and yeah.
Oh, that's good.
The two of them were like frickin' crap.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm friends with Jonathan. He's delightful.
Oh, that's good. Some people may or may not know, but you played the stripper in The Graduate.
Well, yeah, amongst other things, I played the stripper in The Graduate. I also played a social worker on Capitol. The series only lasted a year, and also played a nurse in a few things, a Jerry London thing, and Tales of the Darkside. So I did a few things, but I really left the business and became a nurse because I did not want to have to tell somebody to knock it off who then would have to be on an interview the next day. Because in those years, I was hair down past my waist, and I was really athletically built, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
different rules people set out for themselves in those years, not like today. And so you'd have to tell a lot of people to knock it off if you were going to be married and be in the business. And that's what I quit for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Graduate's one of my favorite movies of all time. How did you get that role, though?
Because Mike Nichols had seen me play a voodoo witch in something else, so he sent his production coordinator to find the person who did that. And she looked at the footage that he had, and she says, "My God, that's my next door neighbor." So she showed up at my door. So I asked, "Dick, you mind if I play a stripper?" He says, "Why not? Somebody's going to get that part with Mike Nichols." Okay.
Yeah, I think you were like the first person in the mainstream to do a tassel dance on screen before Madonna made it popular.
Yeah, well, this would be Madonna to something.
Yeah. You're so gorgeous in that, lady.
Oh, God, that is so much in the past, but thank you very much.
My pleasure. Did you like working with George Romero on Tales from the Darkside?
Well, I worked mainly with Tommy Castronova.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Castronova. So I don't remember much about working with George Romero.
Yeah, another loss to the industry. I've been lucky. I've interviewed his then wife, Christine, and a few actors who worked with him. He was a wonderful man, from what I've been told. So,
Yeah, I've not heard anything bad about him.
yeah, I've heard he was just kind to everybody, and he liked working with people over and over again. So June 28th through the 30th, you will be at Mad Monster Party in Arizona. Are you going to sign autographs and do a panel tribute?
I'm not going to do a panel tribute there. I'm going to sign autographs of my stuff, not stuff that Dick had signed before he passed. I'm bringing that stuff. And I think we're going to try and document comments people have about Dick to put something together with that, but it'll be done at my table.
Oh, that's wonderful. Have you been to the show before?
Dick and I did Mad Monster Party in North Carolina
Mm-hmm.
a few years back, but we've not been to the Scottsdale show.
I see.
But recently, the last picture Dick did was Hanukkah, was for Evan McGar, whose show it is, which is really why I'm doing them. Because because Dick's last picture was with Evan.
Ah, that's great. You get to do that though, and carry his legacy on.
I'm trying to do that, so that's what I'm doing.
Well, I think you're succeeding wonderfully, and I hope you have a great time, and I thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me. You have a great week.
God bless you, Lainie, and I hope I get to see you at a convention one day.
Okay. If you come in September to Son of Monster Palooza, you might see me.
I might do that. I went to the one in April. I might go to the one in September, but I'm not sure yet. But I'll let you know if I do.
Okay. You take care.
Okay, have a good night.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Lainie Miller. Ain't she a sweetheart? Yes, she is, and she's carrying on her husband's legacy, whom she clearly and dearly loved. And I love hearing stories like that. It doesn't have a sad ending after all. It has a very happy ending. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.